Oh, my sausage rings.
Hey guys, Luke here from Ported Gaming, coming at you again with another ALR video. We are back, ladies and gentlemen, at China in Shanghai, the Shanghai International Circuit. Now, you catch me here on my final lap in qualifying, because yet again I failed to record my first lap in qualifying, which has not gone well for me so far. It has been a terrible qualifying session. First lap I invalidated very stupidly at turn 6, and then my second lap I ran out of fuel. So this is my last lap. I have no lap time on the board. The delta you see is to my invalidated lap, and as you can see, I had horrific turn 1 and 2. I'm down by a tenth and a bit, a 24.1 first sector. My PBs in practice were 23.9s, so that just goes to show you how bad this lap already is, and we are only a sector in. The time is increasing, because of course I'm actually pushing on this lap. I wasn't pushing on my other invalidated lap, going wide in the middle of sector 2, just no grip at all, really struggling in qualifying. I do not like China. I'll put it out there now. China is not one of my strongest tracks, and it is really reflecting now into sector 2. I'm currently, I think, 19th. I'm dead last. I have not set a lap time. It's not a great lap so far, but at this point any lap time will do. I'm talking to my engineer. We're both in agreement. It doesn't matter how good the lap is or how bad the lap is. We just need to get a lap time on the board, because any lap will surely get me higher than P19. Coming now down the back straight, I burnt most of my battery on the exit, getting the run down into the final 3 corners. Heavy braking zone, miss the apex ever so slightly, should have taken a bit more of the curb on the inside. Not too bad on the exit, but a little bit more energy coming into the final corner. Into the final corner we come. Qualifying is over. I'm up on my previous lap time. It's not a fantastic lap. It is a 31.7, puts me P8. So not the strongest lap time. My personal best in practice was a 31.2. So that just goes to show you how shocking that lap was. Qualify P9. It will be P8, because as you can see, Astra John, who qualified just ahead of me, does have a 5-place grid penalty, and that penalty will stand for the race. So it will be P8. Rocket Lee, the rival from Melbourne, is in P1. He did a 30.9, only drive it into the 30s. So Rocket Lee having a really strong showing. So far, not a strong evening for me as we come now into the race. It will be the one stop. I'm doing the alternative to what I did in Melbourne last week. I will be doing hard medium instead of medium hard. A lot of people picking hards. As you can see in the top left, Serious Mushroom P6 is on medium. A couple of drivers in front of me were on the medium tyres at the start, so a little bit more of difference between the tyres, unlike Melbourne, where we had general uniformity. Coming into my grid slot now, and as you can see, 0.7, I want to get 0.5, and I go 0.1 under, so I get a good old disqualified. So I'm now even further back. So that's just compounding how I'm feeling right now. I've had a horrible qualifying session, which has been riddled with mistakes that were very much avoidable, and now I've done this on the run to the grid. But here we go to 5 red lights, P8 on the grid, hard tyres. What can I do? And we are indeed racing at Shanghai, and it's an okay start. I'm obviously pegged back a bit due to the fact that I was disqualified from the formation lap, but it's not too bad. We've got Winnie in the Aston Martin, who goes spinning, spears off the back of Dan. I'm trying to hug that inside line, get a little bit stuck behind Serious Mushroom in the other Aston Martin, trying to run wide. I've got so many red proximity hours around me. I'm just trying not to spin on the exit of turn 2 and 3, but it is up to P7, up the inside of Dan, into turn 6. Can't quite get the move done. He goes a little bit deep though. He will have a better exit because he will have a wider corner, but I keep ahead of him. He's trying to hold it around the outside, the inside into this corner. I'm holding it on the outside. It gives me a little bit of a touch. Got a yellow flag further back. I have the inside line. Push him just a little bit wide. He slots in behind me. So not a terrible start. P8 to P6. I can see the leaders up the road, struggling again with traction, but the first lap has been survived, and given the fact it's China, and I was starting a lot lower down the grid than I was in Melbourne, it isn't the end of the world. Coming out onto the back straight, we can see here Corey in the Williams is flashing, so he's clearly saved some ERS down through Sector 2 after the first lap. He's going to deploy it all now. I've got Dan behind me and Mr. Elite in the Haas, who is also on the medium tyres, so Mr. Elite will be looking to climb the order at the moment, but he is currently behind Dan. coming into the tight hairpin, little bit of jockeying up ahead, Mushroom having a look at Jinner. Now, Jinner in the McLaren, this is his first week. He was away last weekend, or last week in Melbourne. He is rapid. I raced against him last season in ALR Bronze. He is a very quick driver. He is one of those that I have pegged as a potential rival for the championship. But what he is running this week is a very, very low downforce setup. So he is fantastic on the straights and terrible everywhere else. So he's gone a little bit against the grain here. I'm running to sort of a more higher end downforce setup. As you can see, Jinner is starting to fall away from the leaders. The top three are pulling away. Jinner is unable to stay with them. As we head on to lap 3, I've got Mr. Elite now directly behind me on the mediums. Got Corey trying to go around the outside of Jinner. I take a little bit too much curve through turn 1. So Jinner, obviously with a lot less cornering speed than everyone else. I've got Mr. Elite up my inside. I've got to give him room. Red proximity arrows yet again are flooding my screen. I'm really struggling for traction out of that corner. I get a good run. Corey's shut out a little bit by Jinner. He's trying to go up the inside. His ERS light is flashing. I'm trying to go around the outside. I can't quite do it. I'm sort of in between the two. I'm in a little bit of a sandwich here, not where I'd want to be, but they are still fighting. I'm stuck by Jinner. I'm boxed in. I've got Jinner in front of me. I've got Corey alongside me. I've got Mr. Elite, who's right behind me, really boxed in. And look at the leaders. They have gone. The top 3 have disappeared down the road. I'm fighting with Corey. A little bit of a touch. Lee runs wide. I'm trying to get it. I can't quite get the momentum off the corner. Corey does stay ahead. Jinner has broken away a little bit, but thankfully not out of DRS range. So we have already seen a massive issue. Jinner is a horrific roadblock. You can see how much he's squirming out of the corners. I'm not much better, fair enough, but he is really struggling to keep up with the leaders. And the issue is, of course, with that low downforce setup, he's terrible for 3/4 of the lap, but the quarter of the lap where you can make overtakes at China, he is strong, and that is going to really pay dividends for him in this opening part of the race. I've got Mr. Elite sending it up my inside. He's on medium tyres. He wants to get going. He wants to get past all these hard runners while he can. Obviously, these hard runners are going to be inferior at the moment, but not for much longer. So it's a race against time for Mr. Elite. On to lap 4 now. The top 3 have checked out, and that is really frustrating. We saw last week in Melbourne how effective DRS trains are, how much you can pull away from people if you're working efficiently in a DRS train. That has not happened. We're in a DRS train, we're stuck behind Jinner, and the top 3 have absolutely bolted. I'm trying to get past Corey, I'm trying to get past Jinner. China isn't my strongest track, I know this, but I still feel I have better pace than the cars ahead. I might be able to bridge a gap between the top 3 if I get past soon. Mr. Elite sends it on me. I don't realise until the last second he is spun. Unfortunately, we do make contact. I apologised proficiently after the race. I said, I'm so sorry. We agreed it was sort of 50-50. He went on a late move. I should have given him more room. So Mr. Elite is spun round. He's out of the equation for now, but he is still around. Corey here has a massive snap. He takes a lot of grass on the inside, but there's not much I can do about it. I've fallen back a bit in my fight with Mr. Elite, and obviously the contact that was made at turn 6. Coming now into the banked turns, I've caught back up, and we've still got a train. See on the map a little bit. The train is sort of behind this McLaren of Jinner, and I have my teammate of Smithy Almighty behind me in P8. So really strong showing from Smithy. I know he's really disappointed with his result in Melbourne, but I was really happy with Smithy. He's in P8. He's going to become a bit of a pain in the arse later on in the race, but at the moment we're still stuck behind Jinner. This straight line speed of this McLaren is absolutely infuriating. There's nothing we can do about it. He's so slow through sector 1 and sector 2, but sector 3 he is half a second clear of everyone else. In practice he was half a second clear of everyone else just in sector 3. We could do nothing against his straight line speed. All he has to do is save ERS. You can see his light flashing there, and there's nothing more we can do. So it's incredibly frustrating. The top 3, as I said, have just bounced. They're gone. They're not. You can't even see them anymore. They are just pulling each other along, and they are working efficiently. We're stuck behind Jinner, who's a cork in the bottle, and is remaining a cork in the bottle quite infuriatingly. But here we go. Corey trying to go around the outside, trying to switch back to the inside. I've got Winnie, who after that spin at turn 1 has done fantastic to climb back through the order. Winnie has had a really strong race. If you take out the fact he span at turn 1, I touch the back of Corey. I lose the rear end. There's Winnie in the other Aston Martin. Winnie says, thank you very much. I'll take that position. So I'm now back down into P7. Now behind 4 cars. I'm 4th in the line, and the top 3 are gone. I have any hope of winning this race at the moment is absolutely shattered as we head now round the long left-handers and right-handers of Sector 2. I'm thinking at this point, I'm talking to my engineer and I'm going, what is the game plan? Because we need to get past this McLaren. I am now 4th in line in this DRS train. I need to really hope that something big happens ahead. I need something like that. Corey runs wide. Winnie goes up his inside. Jenna isn't too far up the road. I'm watching sort of eagle-eyed. I'm trying to get straightened up. I go a little bit wide through here, trying to get that best exit, the best that I possibly can. Winnie's had a fantastic run out of turn 13. This Aston Martin is showing to be very quick at the moment. I've got Smithy, my teammate, all over my back, so it is really close. You can see Corey is already flashing. I'm using hot lap mode. Corey is flashing. I have a fantastic run. Everyone is saving ERS. I'm trying to go around the outside. I want to stay away from this. Up the inside they all go, and there goes Jinner. He's been taken out by Winnie. Winnie's had his second accident of the race, and that is Jinner gone. He is now out of the way in many respects, which is not how you want him to go, because you'd want a nice, clean fight. But we'll take what we are given. We go past Corey. Smithy gets past Corey, and we are now clear. We're up into P4 on lap 7. But I just do not have any pace. I'm struggling a lot for traction out of the long left and rights of turn 1 and 2. Really struggling to get the power down. And I just don't have the pace. You can see Smithy here is all over me. He's just not leaving me alone. I let him go into this hairpin. I then will catch back up under DRS. Go for a little bit of a move because he's saving a lot of ERS, but he still has enough of a gap on me to keep ahead for now. So it is now a game of just sitting behind my teammate, seeing if we can get the gap. You can see the gap in the top left corner to Rocket Lee in P3, 6.5 seconds. That is how much time we lost behind Jenna. We were losing nearly a second a lap. I get past Smithy, who is again saving ERS, again struggling out of traction out of that corner. I really do not like China. It is supposed to be a bit more of a pad track, but I didn't get it. I did not feel it at all while at any point during this. And then there we go, Smithy and Corey go past me. So we're just sort of all swapping positions. We've got a gap to Dan in P7. Winnie in the Aston Martin is recovering from his second collision of the race. Spoiler alert, it will not be his last collision of the race. I can tell you that now for free. On to lap 10, we are just swapping positions. Top 3 have gone. I was kind of hoping that Mushroom's tyres would be falling off. Doesn't appear to be really. Smithy and Corey have a little bit of contact. I get back up into the lead of the train, but the gap is still about 6 seconds. Mushroom's on mediums. He isn't really falling off. So at this point, I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be a battle for P4. I'm with my teammate. We're going to have to sort of try and strategically maneuver around him. We're going to have to try our best. We make a little bit of contact into the hairpin, but we're back up to 4th on to lap 12. Corey gets past my teammate. I'm thinking, oh my God, how many more laps of just backwards and forwards are we going to have? As we come now into Sector 2, yellow flag, there's a retirement, and we have our first full safety car in ALR Bronze. Finally, we have something that is going to help us. Now, I have to pit. It's lap 12. We've all been on our tyres from the start. If I stay out, I am done for. On the other hand, I now have to pit onto a set of mediums, which will have to do 16 laps, probably about 14 laps, and once you take the safety car out of the equation. So it's not amazing. If it came a couple of laps later, if Sirius had pitted and then the safety car came out, would have been a lot better position. But I will take it. We were so far behind the leaders that we weren't going to catch them on pure pace alone. The safety car has come out, the field will bunch up, and we will critically now be right behind the leaders and Rocket Lee, who, of course, last week was my closest rival for the victory. So I know I have to pit. I'm trying to get a bit under Delta, trying to speed into the pit lane. I've jumped the gun a little too early. As you can see, I'm sort of having to really slow it down to try and get into the Delta. Delta goes green. Into the pits I will go onto a set of medium tyres. As you can see there, I have just picked up my first warning of the race. I have cut the pit lane entrance. I didn't know that was a warning. As you can see, it's flashed up on my screen for a split second. I didn't see that warning, and I still think I'm on 0 warnings for the race, so this will impact me later on in the race as we keep going forward. But onto the medium tyres, my teammates pitted behind me. I slightly mess up the pit release, but that's not too bad. Out onto the track in 4th position. You might have seen it was 5th. Someone pitted afterwards. So I'm in 4th. I have jumped someone. Someone did spin it under the safety car. P4 on the safety car restart. Now, we've got Serious Mushroom and my Rocket Lee and myself. We have the car out front is a Ferrari. That Ferrari did not pit under the safety car. They are on old hard tyres. They did not pit. So we're really hoping to get past them ASAP. The Ferrari is weaving. I'm keeping an eye back on Corey. Everyone around me is on mediums, apart from Mushroom, who obviously had to go to hards. He will be in good stead for the end of the race. Still half the race to go into the chicane. Haven't quite gone yet. And then there goes the Ferrari. Casey spins by himself under safety car. We all get 10-second penalties for illegally overtaking him. I can tell you now, those 10-second penalties were removed for everyone. Mushroom has bolted. He's using chaos and confusion to bolt, but we all have 10-second penalties, which, as I said, will be removed. There was nothing we could do. The Ferrari span of his own accord. We had to go past him, and we want 10-second penalties. But as you can see, critically, we've pulled a gap on Corey. We're now 1.7 ahead of Corey, which is now Winnie. So Winnie has had 2 collisions in this race, and he's climbed back up to P4. So Winnie, definitely the quickest car on the track right now. So all these penalties you see in the top left, they are removed because, as you understand, the stewards basically go, there's nothing you could have done. They're all removed. So on to lap 16, I'm really hoping that we can keep the gap to Winnie quite big because he is clearly a very rapid driver. We're in a DRS train, flow of fastest laps. Winnie has the fastest lap. He is absolutely rapid in that Aston Martin. Now, Rocket here, he's gone on run for a little too long. I'm going to see if I can go for a lunge up the inside. And I do. A little bit outbrake myself. He does get a good exit. I'm again struggling for traction on these slow speed corners. I've got through. The issue is that, of course, by doing that, we've slowed each other up. I didn't think smart in that situation. I should have waited, but I wanted the move. I had the run on him, and you can see now Winnie is 1.2 off the back of Rocket Lee. That is now going to come down a bit more. Winnie clearly sees that he's nearly in DRS range, and he will unfortunately get back into DRS range of Rocket Lee. So the fight that was between 3 now extends. We have another big DRS train, similar to what we had at the start in Melbourne. So Winnie now, the quickest driver by far, is now in P4, and we are getting nervous. Well, I say I'm getting nervous. Not sure how my fellow competitors are feeling at this point, but we will have to wait and see. Rocket Lee tries to get my inside. I sort of brake quite early because I'm closing in on Mushroom. I don't want to brake too late and hit the back of him, but the Williams does indeed get me. When he has fallen out of DRS range, he's now in it. He's now within a second of me. So that DRS train has now extended, and the quickest guy on the field is right behind us. Another fastest lap for Winnie. I am right now going, oh my god, who has come up behind me? Keep in mind, this guy's had 2 incidents, half spin on lap 1 and a collision with Jenna later on. The fact he's now right behind me in P4 is quite concerning. He's on my back already within a couple of laps. Mushroom is overtaken by Lee, but again, we're all sort of DRS training at this point. There's still a little bit of time to go in the race. They're all DRS trading. There's no real push yet. Winnie's behind me. Dan's climbed back up as well. At the moment, we're all sitting on no penalties. There's no penalties between us once those 10 seconds are all removed. So this is an outright battle for the lead. No one can rest on their laurels. You have to push every single lap. You never know what's going to happen, but we have to wait and see. So Rocket and Mushroom are swapping. I'm just sort of sitting back. I'm watching Minnie. You can see I'm flashing back. I'm looking back, seeing where he is in relation to me, seeing what is happening as we head onto lap 20. I'm coming round into the final corner, up around the final corner. A little bit too much curb, but that's okay. But Winnie runs wide and gets that 3-second penalty. So he now does have a penalty to his name. So he is in trouble. He has a track limits warning. Too many of them. He's got that 3 seconds. He's gone up my inside. Clearly has realised that he needs to get a hustle on. He clearly probably knows he's probably the quickest driver on track at the moment. I tap his rear end for good measure. We've all concertinaed up, and I am down to P4. Got Dan behind me. It is still effectively P3 with Winnie and his 3 seconds. There's quite a big gap to Corey in the Williams, so Corey unfortunately has fallen back after that really strong start, but I am now P4. Winnie is absolutely pushing Rocket Lee this way and every way. He's going to wait until this part of the track to get a fantastic run again, but we're in this DRS train. None of us can really overtake each other, and as we come now round onto lap 22, that is my second warning of the race. But of course, as I mentioned, I didn't see my first warning for cutting the pit lane entrance. It didn't flash up on my screen long enough for me to recognize it. So I've gone to my engineer. My first warning of the race. So I'm pretty happy. I think I'm on 1 warning. The game has me on 2. So unfortunately there, I am a little bit in the dark, but I'm still pushing on. I've got Dynamo Dan now up to P6. He's on the hard tyres, so he'll be coming quite good because, of course, these medium tyres are going to start hitting a cliff really soon. So Dan up to 6th. Dan kind of struggling to keep up with us a little bit. He just does keep within DRS range. He pushes a bit on battery, closes up. Not much we can do. Winnie's still behind Lee. Lee is still behind Mushroom. as we're climbing up now, lap 24. So we are hitting the sharp end of the race. Mushroom by now will have the superior tyre, but there's not much we can do as we come now into this part of the track, and Winnie has a spin. Winnie has his third incident of the race, and he's had a half spin, which has caught me off guard. I have had to let off the throttle because there's an Aston Martin now blocking my track. He does go, so thankfully no damage, but the biggest damage done to me by Winnie and that half spin, I am out of DRS range of the top two, and that is not going to change anytime soon. I've got Dan Dan right behind me. Winnie has recovered to be right behind Dan Dan, so the only real person that affected was probably me because I'm out of DRS range. I am now vulnerable. Dan Dan is going to blast past me. I'm not going to fight that. I'm going to hope that by using his DRS, I can use him to catch back up to the top two. Rocket Lee has now taken the lead of the Chinese Grand Prix, so I need to now hope that Dan Dan can pull me forward. And as you can see, all this fighting, Dynamo Dan is now only in P6, and there it is. A 3-second penalty. I am really confused at this point. I'm going to my engineer, where's this come from? What's going on? How's this happened? I assume that the game has given me 2 warnings for 1 exceeding track limits, because at that corner, if you run wide during qualifying, you get your current lap and your next lap is invalidated. So that's what I'm assuming. I didn't know about the pit lane entrance warning. So I'm on 3 seconds. I'm saying to my engineer, I think I can get that removed. I think that's a BS penalty, but we'll have to wait and see what the stewards say after the race. So at this point, I'm still pushing on. Dynamo Dan has closed up even more. He's still within that 3-second range. It has only really been kept at bay by the fact that we're all in DRS for each other. I've got Winnie, who's after 3 incidents, is now back up my inside. Winnie in the Aston Martin has been unbelievably quick, even if he has made a few too many mistakes. He's up to P4, and I'm down to P5. So as we move swiftly on to the end of this lap 26 here, stuck right behind now, I'm in P5, which is going to be P5 because, well, I've got a 3-second penalty. Could be P6, as Dynamo Dan is now within that 3-second range. There's not much I can do. He's on far superior tyres at this point, and I'm really, really struggling. You'll see later in the race, I get a tyre warning, which means one of my tyres has hit 60%. So I am keeping up with the train. At this point, I'm just trying to finish this race. It has been quite chaotic, and given the amount of cars that are all in DRS with each other, all are going to be able to get penalties removed, apart from Winnie. We're all pushing really hard. We're all fighting. Dan Dan in the Alpine is going really strong. So good on him. There is my tyre warning light. So therefore, one of my tyres has hit 60%, which gives show you how bad my tyre wear was. On to the last lap now. Lap 28 of 28. It is P5 on the track at the moment. I've got 13 seconds worth of penalties. I know the 10 is being removed, and I'm going to appeal the 3 seconds to get the 3-second penalty removed. But I don't know if they're going to allow it, so I just have to keep pushing on. Dynamo Dan hasn't been able to get much momentum. He's still stuck in P6, 2.3 seconds off the road, off the back of me. He's coming now into turn 6. You can see all these cars all over each other. We've got, I think it is Mushrooms in second. Then it is, I think Rocket League is leading the race at this point. So my closest rival from Melbourne is probably about to take the championship lead because I am going to finish P1 and P5. He's going to finish potentially P2 and P1, except he is not because he makes a mistake. His tyres are gone as well. He's now down to P3. He's got Dan Dan, who's gone right round the outside of him in the Alpine. He's got Winnie all over the back of him. Mushroom has been given a lifeline here. Serious Mushroom, a fantastic racer, really nice guy who was very ill when this race happened, has had an amazing lifeline. So now, as you can see, Rocket Lee has made a mistake. His tyres are cooked. I have a lot of battery left. I have over half my battery for the last lap. DRS overtake mode. I don't know what Rocket Lee's doing here. We know he has shady internet. I'm going to go to the outside. What's going to happen next? Find out soon as Rocket Lee goes up the inside. And Rocket Lee has done a Rocket Lee. He's gone into the side of Dan Dan, pushed Dan Dan wide. Winnie gets up to P2. I'm all over the back of Dan Dan. I think about making a move. There's not much I can do about it. Serious Mushroom wins the Chinese Grand Prix. It doesn't give him that because obviously the 10-second penalties, so someone else wins. But I can assure you, post-race, that Serious Mushroom is given the win, and rightly so. So that is me. I cross the line in P6, but with appeals. Here are the championship standings. I do get 13 seconds removed. I take P3, so I am leading Dan Dan by 10 points. Rocket Lee in third. As we move on to the World Constructors, we are still leading, but only by 5 points, and Williams and Aston Martin are tied on points, so it is still close, only on round 2. Round 3 is coming up, and what track is it? Suzuka. Another track I don't really like. I'm not feeling confident for Japan. So, tune in later. What will happen at Japan? Find out next time in ALR Bronze.